Welcome to episode 19 of Franklin Fiber, my knitting, spinning, fiber-related, and just generally crafty podcast. I'm Julie, also known as Lovey Lamb on Ravelry and also on Instagram. If it's your first time watching the show, welcome. And if you've seen it before, welcome back. Today's going to be a short one. I think I've said that before and it's been long, but I think I mean it this time because I don't have that much to show you. So let's get it started. Blueberry coffee. I don't usually drink flavored coffee, but there's something about blueberry coffee in the summer and in the fall. I just can't resist. Sorry, my cat's making a mess over there. Whatever. So if you have watched before, then you might notice that this doesn't look like anywhere I've recorded before. This is my first episode in my new apartment. I'm so excited. My husband and I moved into our one-bedroom apartment in Asbury Park. It's not big, but it's perfect. I'm so happy. Asbury Park, New Jersey. Sorry if you haven't watched the show before. I do live in New Jersey, at the Jersey Shore, which is a good place to be in the summertime, but it's also a good place to be in the winter, and I'm going to be here for a whole year. I tend to move around a lot, but signing a lease means I'm going to be here for a while. And it's nice getting settled in and having all my stuff in one place. Although my yarn is still in 3 places. I'm moving in slowly, and there's still some boxes around, but it's coming together. So as a result, I didn't have a lot of time to knit because I've been unpacking and moving. And also, like I just said, not all of my crafty stuff is here yet. So I did bring my spinning wheel, it's over there, but I haven't touched it yet, so there'll be no spinning. It's also just too hot to spin. I don't know. When it finally warmed up. This summer has been really, really cool and lovely. But this week it finally got into the 80s, so, excuse me. It's hard to convince myself to, work with wool. But I've been forcing myself. So there might be some ancillary noises. I hope it's not too much. No spinning this week. Also no dyeing this week. It's been too hot to turn on the stove. And again, all my dye stuff is in a couple of different places. But hopefully, it'll sort of get back to normal in the next couple of weeks. But I did knit. Especially because I didn't have internet in my apartment till yesterday evening. And it's amazing and I don't have TV either. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you're not watching TV or wasting time on the internet. So I'm going to start with finished objects because I want to get these out of the way. I don't ever want to have to look at them again. Sorry, I've been unfair to these socks. They've been unfair to me. These, here we go, are big. These are stripy socks that I made for my sister. Her birthday is in the beginning of September. Ow, my fingers. And I wanted to get these done to send them to her. They are knit out of Patton's Croy socks in Patton's Croy sock yarn. I think that's what it's called. And the color is called Rusty Stripes. Excuse me. I purchased it at Michael's. Purchased it at Michael's. And you need 2 balls if you're going to make a pair of socks, unless they're like ankle socks or something, I guess, and you have tiny feet, or you're a baby, in which case, that's awesome that you know how to knit. So yeah, 2 balls of that, and what else? Afterthought heel, wedge toe, 2x2 ribbing for the cuff. Which one's the one I just finished? This one. I know because it has this little white blip in the stripe there. Yeah, as I said before, I wasn't that happy with this yarn. The color's one thing. These aren't my colors, but I didn't make them for me. And that's fine. They actually are kind of cool. In the end, having them both together made me feel a little bit better. And having 2 matching socks, I think it's a little less clowny than I was a little worried about. It's still a little clowny. Exuberant is what I mean by clowny, and I'm not an exuberant person. My husband tells me that I never get excited about anything. And it's true. I'm a rational person. Anyway, these are irrational socks. So yeah, the color's one thing, but what I really wasn't thrilled with was just the yarn quality, especially on this second ball. So there's things like this, that white undyed spot, and there were some other places where the color kind of just muddied where it was supposed to transition, like there, and also some areas where there was a blip of color in the middle of a stripe. Can you see that there? That's not a stain. That's how the yarn came. But it kind of looks like a stain, and that annoys me. And there was a knot, 2 knots, in one stripe. It was in this black stripe. And so I have, as you can see, it's a little bit uneven there. It's because I have it pulled to the back and I haven't woven it in yet. One of the knots. And that's annoying. I don't know. I mean, I understand knots in yarn. I've encountered that before. And I know it's kind of standard that you will occasionally get knots. But I guess it's just a little more frustrating to me when it's in a self-striping yarn, because it makes it more difficult to work around that knot. I don't want to pull too much of that out where the knot was. I mean, I don't want to knit a knot into the sock. Usually I would just pull, a good bit back and keep knitting. And that way I'd have 2 ends that I can weave in after I cut the knot out. And I have that, but it's like I left myself like that much, and I gotta weave it in because I didn't want to mess up the stripe sequence too much. I didn't want to make it so that this stripe was a whole lot shorter because I pulled out a bunch of yarn to weave in. Anyway, that's my beef. But here they are. See, I did the afterthought heel where it's I split it in this thinner. I don't know what's going on up there. This thinner stripe, and then I picked it up here. That's where the repeat goes here. And then it stripes back down. Picking up black stitches, by the way, for afterthought heels, really sucks. I don't know. It was annoying. You can't see what you're doing, and you need really, really good light. That's my advice. So they do match exactly, or pretty much exactly. One is a little more stretched out because it was done first. Yeah, hey, not bad. Pretty darn close. They need to be blocked. The ends need to be woven in. But other than that, they are done, and they will be mailed off to my little sis, who's in Boston now, but may be moving to New York soon, which would be great. Anyway, that was the finished object. So now I'm going to show you what I'm working on. First is this. So I decided I have always saved my sock yarn, the little scraps that I have at the end of the socks. And I just have a big pile of balls of sock yarn, like this size. And I don't know, I imagined that I would have something to do with them. I've started like 15 different projects to make a blanket. But each time, like I had this one idea that I would do this like textured pattern. I think it's called Chinese waves, this textured stitch. And I would just do like long panels and just kind of knit with the ends of my sock yarn and knit them into this pattern. But I don't know, I didn't fall in love with this pattern, the stitch pattern, and having that big long strip of knitting was just kind of annoying. Like I didn't want to have to pull it out. I couldn't really take it with me. If I finished a sock, I couldn't immediately start Indian style. I couldn't immediately start on using up that extras because I'd have to go and find this project that was lingering somewhere. And so anyway, I ended up just forgetting about it, and I think I frogged it. I definitely frogged it. So I have been looking for something that I can do with my leftover scraps that is entertaining and that will someday be a larger project. And so this is what I have decided to start with. These are it's a simple mitered square. And what I've got is I've got one of the stripy leftovers from this alternating with black that was left over from my my eye blank shawl. So it's just, two rows of each color. What did I do? I'll tell you what I did so that I have it for posterity. It's 45 stitches cast on, and then a center double decrease in the center with two rows of each color. The decreases are on the wrong side, actually. But yeah, it looks really cool, and I want to keep doing it this way, where it's alternating a self-striping with a solid in each one. And that way there'll be some coherence to it, and the whole thing will kind of have this stripy look, and these like sort of, you know, not ombre, striped, I guess I'd call it. Stripes within the stripes. So this is the first one. I just finished it this morning. And I was actually talking to my friend Betsy about whether or not I should just kind of pick up stitches for the next one and do it right onto here. And when I was talking to her, I decided that I was going to do that. Now I don't think I'm not so sure I am. I think I am just going to make a whole bunch of these and throw them into a box until I'm ready to seam. I don't know. Mostly because what I really want is something that I can do one-off. I don't have to look for the other ones. And also so that I don't have to think right now about how they'll match together. You know what I mean? I can wait until I have enough for like a pillow or something like that. Or even just one square and just look at how the colors work together. If that makes sense? Anyway, so I'm going to throw these into a basket. There's a basket down there that I just threw it into. And yeah, I can keep working on that as I feel like it. Alright. That's one thing I did. What else am I working on? This. Okay. This is a swatch. It's a very big swatch. It's an extra large swatch. I am swatching for a Fricks. That's my cat. I'm swatching for a baby sweater. It's called the Braided Cable Cardigan. And I have it up on my phone because I forgot to look at who this pattern is by. It is by White Flower Needle is the web page. Sorry, I feel like a jerk. I don't have it up. Okay, Braided Cable Sweater. It is a pattern by Christy Hills. It is a pay-for pattern, $4.99 on Ravelry, and it comes in sizes 0 to 6 months up to 2 to 4 years. And I'll be making the 6-month size. I wonder if I can get this picture up so you can see it. Can you see it? Oh, barely. That was a bad idea. Anyway, it's a really traditional kind of baby sweater with a nice braided cable up the placket and a collar. So I'm making this. This is the one that I mentioned. A friend of my mother-in-law commissioned me to make one for her niece who's having a baby. Obviously the sweater won't fit the niece, it'll fit the baby. And so this is a pattern that we settled on. And this is out of Spud and Chloe Sweater in the turtle color. I do have the tag. Spud and Chloe Sweater in turtle, color 7514. I bought this at Webb's online, yarn.com. And there's a bunch of it. I'm going to make the sweater and then also a matching hat. And I'm making an extra large swatch for 2 reasons. One, because I can get a better sense of my gauge over more stitches. And I guess I could use this as a pot holder at the end. Or if I need it, I can always just unravel it and use it for the hat. I haven't blocked it yet, and I'm going to block it. And that's how I'm going to see what my gauge really is. Because I'm a little concerned. It's a wool cotton blend sweater, worsted weight wool cotton, and I just want to see if it's going to grow. So I mean, I know that cotton grows, especially lengthwise, and I want to know if substituting this is going to really throw off my gauge, and if so, I will figure out what to do. Change the needle size in some direction, or change the pattern a little bit. I like the drape of this. It's pretty dense, but not too dense, and I think it's going to open up even more once it's blocked. I did this on size 7s, no, 6s, no. 6s, yes. These are my Hiya Sharp interchangeables. So 6s, and so the other reason why I did an extra large swatch is because I've got time. I'm making this as part of our baby knit along, baby cowl in the group, and the baby cowl starts September 1st. So I had a little time on my hands. Swatching you can do whenever. You don't have to wait for September 1st to swatch. And I wanted to play by the rules. So I waited and made a nice swatch. Well, I could have looked at this to see what size needle I used. I did the method where you do knots in the yarn here. Number of knots equals size needle. So the baby cowl, right. I just want to mention it really quickly now before I forget. So we are doing a baby cowl in the group, baby knit cowl. We're not knitting babies, but we're knitting things for babies. It was originally going to be a sweater knit along, baby sweater knit along, but I think I have decided to open it up to all baby items. So that could be anything as small as a preemie hat, all the way up to a baby blanket, and everything in between. So we're going to have a giveaway at the end, or multiple giveaways. We'll see what I've got in my stash. And if anyone else wants to contribute, and maybe I'll make a trip to the yarn store, because, you know, you always need a reason to go to the yarn store. And it's a really loose rule cowl. Start on September 1st or after, finish by, I think I said the 31st. I believe I said the 31st. And it could be any size item. It could really just be a preemie hat. Or it could be like, you know, a giant fiddly stuffed animal, whatever you want to do. And you can enter as many times as you want. So if you want to make 5 preemie hats, that's 5 entries into the giveaway at the end. And you can double dip with other cowls or other contests that might be running. I know I'm also going to be joining the Knit Girls Craft Along for Halloween. So I'll definitely be doing that. So if you want to double dip between this and that, if you want to make an orange preemie hat or one of those cute pumpkin, you know, like those baby hats that look like a pumpkin, if you want to do that. Or if you want to make like a stuffed ghost for a baby, that'd be a little creepy. But if you want to do it, I mean, I don't know, babies probably wouldn't know the difference. It's just soft. Anyway, do that. That's fine. So yeah, so that's in the group. Join the group and join the cowl. It'll be fun. It's really low pressure. And we'll have a separate chatter thread, so you can talk about your projects. And yeah, so that starts on September 1st, and that's when I will be casting on my braided cable sweater for the wee baby. Don't know the gender yet, that's why we're doing green. Okay, so that was one progress. I mean, sort of a finished object, but really it's a work in progress. And one more work in progress is this hat. I just needed something to work on that wasn't socks, and that was nice and easy before I start on the baby sweater. So I cast on this hat. This is the Barley pattern by Tin Can Knits. It's part of their Simple Knits series, which is like a Learn to Knit series, so it's really, really easy. Like, couldn't be easier. It's just a regular hat, knit in the round, 1x1 rib, and then a garter stitch panel. The decreases are just swirl decreases, which I'm not usually a big fan of, but it works here. And this yarn that I'm using is that yarn that I dyed up and showed you last week. I think it was last week. It's an alpaca merino base that I dyed with acid dyes, and this pretty kind of, I was going for like a watercolor effect, and I really like it. I also like that it's not pooling at all in this hat, which pooling annoys me. I just have a thing about pooling. So it's pinks and greens and tan, and just really muted, kind of watery colors that sort of fade in and out. I really like it. I like it a lot. I think it works with this really simple pattern. I was really curious to see how this yarn would knit up, so that's why I picked a really simple pattern as well, just to see what it looks like. So that's what it looks like. And I'm knitting this on 8s. This is a worsted weight yarn. I'm going to try it on, even though it's unfinished, because it's pretty big. I knit the women's medium, which I measured my head to see what size. I think my head's like 21 inches or something. And it's kind of, actually, it's working, you know? It's supposed to be a beanie, the version that I was making, not slouchy, but it's pretty slouchy. But I don't mind because I wear slouchy hats. And I actually started the decreases an inch before the pattern says to start the decreases. I think that I didn't do any gauge swatching or even look at what my gauge was. I just cast on and started knitting because that's what I do with hats. And I think that my stitches were longer than the gauge specified, and it feels good around. Actually, it's pretty bunchy around. So I think overall I just had a larger gauge. So I could have gone down a needle size, but I'm happy with this fabric. It's really soft and drapey, and the fit's actually working out. So I'm on the decreases, magic looping, and I'm almost done with it. That'll be finished today, I think, and I'll block it. And then there's only one other thing that I'm currently working on. Or no, that I finished, but it's not knitting, so I didn't show it to you with my finished objects. And actually, it's not finished. I'm just ignore everything I say. This is a chair pad that I made for one of my kitchen chairs. It's pretty cool. It is, so what it is, oh, I actually have the yarn in a ball. Take a pause. I'm gonna go grab it. Okay, sorry, I grabbed the yarn from the other room. I forgot to bring it in. This is some cheapo, weird yarn from Premier Yarns called Couture Jazz. Jazz Hands. In the beige color. It is a super, super bulky. This is only 16.5 yards, and it's out of acrylic and polyamide. Polyamide. I just don't know how to say that. Anyway, it's not the loveliest thing in the world. This is what I bought for the arm knitting cowl that I showed you a while ago. This is how thick it is. It's actually quite soft. It is. And it's this sort of tape construction. It's actually a knitted tube of this, like, see it? It's a little gross in the strand, but worked up. It's actually kind of nice. This was, I think, $3.50 at Joann's. And so what I did was, instead of arm knitting with it, I arm crocheted. It's basically like, you know, let's see if I can get this out. When you have a braid of fiber of top. What the hell's going on here? Where's the end of this? Sorry, this is a momentary fail. There it is. Okay. Like if you have some, you know, top that you purchased and you wanted to store it for later, you can just kind of go like this with it and crochet a chain. You know what I mean? Just with your fingers. So that's what I did for this. A little tighter than what I just did, but I just crocheted all of this into a long single chain and then sewed it together in a spiral. And now it's a chair pad. And I do have little ties that I have to sew onto them so it'll stay on the chair. I couldn't find, I lost my needle and thread right after I finished making that, and I just found it, so I wasn't able to sew it on until now. I will. And yeah, it was a little home decor item that was very, very cheap to make and took about a half hour total. I watched an episode of Martha Bakes, Martha Stewart's new baking show, on PBS while I sewed this together, and it's actually quite comfortable. It's soft and cushiony. So I'm going to make another one for the other kitchen chair. Yes, I have 2 kitchen chairs. That's enough for me and my husband. And yeah, little fun project. It was very easy. So if you're feeling crafty and only have a half hour, I suggest you make something like that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because I had to get up and go into the other room, and now I'm all over the place. But actually, I think I'm done. I think we're done for this episode. That was an abrupt ending, but that's just the way I roll, I guess. So, yeah, join the Ravelry group join the baby cow. It's going to be fun. And there'll be prizes, so, you know, you can't lose. Well, you can lose, but, you know, you don't have much to lose. Sorry, as I said, train of thought went that way. Join the group. You can find me on Instagram as Loveeland, Loveeelamb. Also, friend me on Ravelry. I love having friends. And if you have any questions, you can always PM me. Or mention it in the group. There's, what else? There's not much else to say. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoy your Labor Day. Next weekend is Labor Day weekend. I will be recording on Monday, I believe. That's my plan, is to record on Monday. Might end up being Tuesday. Either way, I'll see you next week. Enjoy the long weekend. And stay crafty. Bye, everyone.